So we're talking about it today live on Mana Minutes, talking about being fireproofed. Are you ready? Does it look like it? Are you ready to reach out and test yourself in the flames? Welcome to Mana Minutes. I want to thank you for joining me today. It is a beautiful Sunday afternoon here in sunny Indiana. Okay, so maybe not so sunny, but it is a beautiful Sunday afternoon. I hope you made it to the house of worship this morning, but if you didn't, I'm glad you're here today as we are going to be talking about something interesting. And yes, even though it is a Sunday, I am in the official work attire, and that's just to prove my point and add some credibility onto the video clip. And so I know that's why you're all here. Are you ready for the video clip? Of course you are. Here we go. We're going to run that out to you in 3, 2, fun. A man a minute with Daniel Earl. The crucible for silver and the furnace for gold, but the Lord tests the heart. Proverbs 17:3. Proverbs 17:3 today, illustrating and reminding us one of the major themes of the Bible. Man looks on the outward appearance, but God looks on the heart. No matter what label you wear, or if you wear no label whatsoever, when the heat is on, what's on the inside, the heart, will be proven. Okay, I know that ran by you awful fast, and you're probably like, man, the first part of that video, I couldn't even catch it. So basically talking about how we diagnose fibers. So coming from the carpet cleaning and upholstery cleaning industry, you got to know what you're working with, right? And you don't always get a label. And sometimes when you do get a label, it's misleading. So what we do is we have a series of tests that we conduct to actually figure out what a fiber or a material, really it doesn't have to be necessarily a textile, but to try and figure out what a material actually consists of. One of the most reliable ways that we can do that is to conduct a burn test. And yes, fire, okay, but still got to say the disclaimers, right? Listen, don't set yourself ablaze. Just don't do it. Or anything you own or anything. But so when we put it to the fire, there's some interesting things that happen. Number one, oftentimes we can tell by the way in which the fire engages a material. By the color of the flame, the color of the smoke, the odor that it puts off. We can also tell by the residue what's left behind or what's not left behind after the fire has done what fire does to give us insights onto what's going on inside that fiber. And you're like, okay, well, what in the world does that have to do with us? And I know today's video was more of a ho-ho than it was a hee-hee. But I want you to think about that, right? And that little tag I put in there, so when the heat is on, right? That's really what's going to tell you what's going on the inside of your heart. Have you ever noticed that sometimes when the heat is on, you're surprised a little bit by how you respond to that, how you interact when things are kind of hot, a little bit heated? Well, 1 Corinthians chapter 3 is also going to have some things to say to us, but why would the Lord, before we go there, I want to stay right there in Proverbs, why would the Lord test the hearts? Well, doesn't he already know? Of course he already knows. Who do you think requires more convincing of what is on the inner man? Do you think the Lord requires more convincing? Or do you think the man requires more convincing? I'm pretty sure it's me. God already knows my heart. He already knows the situations. But out of his love, out of the way in which I believe that the Lord works with us to grow us, to develop us, we see ourselves put to the flames. And more than that, than just the proving, so to speak, as in evidentiary discovery There's also the proofing, and Solomon's going to talk about that, about how that gold and silver is actually refined and impurities are burned off in that process. And I want to go into 1 Corinthians chapter 3. I just want to take a quick look at that little passage, because the Bible brings this up again in the New Testament. It's right here. It's in the book. See? 1 Corinthians chapter 3, starting in verse 10. By the grace God has given me, I laid a foundation as a wise builder, and someone else is building on it. But each one of you should build with care. That's important. So he's saying, I've put down the foundation here, and now we're building around it, right? Paul's speaking specifically about the work that he's doing in Corinth. For no one can lay any foundation other than the one already laid, which is Jesus Christ. Listen, if you don't have the foundation of Jesus Christ, the rest of it is kind of immaterial. Let's move on, because we're getting to the meat of how this connects to Proverbs. If anyone builds on this foundation using gold, silver, costly stones, that's good, gold, silver, and costly stones. Listen to the next series. Wood, hay, or straw. Their work will be shown for what it is, because the day will bring it to light. It will be revealed with fire, and the fire will test the quality of each person's work. And if you look at that, the gold, silver, and precious stones, pretty difficult to consume those with fire. But the wood, the hay, the straw, all those things, they burn away pretty quickly. So the fire has its purpose, right? And here's something to be considered, okay? And I just want to throw this out there, because sometimes we may look at things and we may think that certain things are like big, important, monumental, just because there's a lot of it. It's there by volume, okay? And here's the thought. Let's say you're in your local church, okay? And somebody comes in wearing a $1 million diamond. A $1 million diamond. What are the odds that just with a cursory view, just looking around the room, somebody's got a $1 million diamond in their possession, that you would be able to identify it? What if somebody comes in with $1 million worth of hay? Do you think just by looking around the room you'd be able to spot it? Well, man, if you can't spot $1 million worth of hay, it takes up a lot of space. It would be an attention getter. And so that's just a comparative thought. Sometimes the things that we see that are big, bold, out there, and impressive take up a lot of space, take up a lot of room, may not necessarily be the ones that have the most lasting value. I mean, truthfully, $1 million in hay and $1 million in diamonds has the same technical value for a period of time. But, in the lasting, eternal type of perspective, completely different. So my question to you today is, what is on the inner man, and what do you want to be on the inner man? And sometimes even when we do have that gold, silver, precious stones on the inside, is there an opportunity for God to refine those things and purify those things through the furnace of human existence? Well, here's the thing. I don't know about y'all, okay? But my continual prayer is, Lord, if we can do better, I'd like to do better. In all, I pray, Lord, let your name be glorified. That's the sincerest, as much as I can know my own heart, that is the sincere desire of my heart, is that the Lord would be glorified in everything that takes place. But, Lord, if we can do better on this thing, let's do it. If you'd like to see me move further or progress, or you'd like to see me stay where I am, whatever it is, Lord, I want to place myself in your hands, and you make of me what you want to make of me. And it's no surprise then when the Lord brings those testing fires, brings those refining fires into our lives to help to prove us. So just some things to think about there in Proverbs. And listen, that's not just like a blip. Some of these things that we go through Proverbs, we're going through so fast, and they're just repeated over and over and over again. They're laid, underlaid, overlaid, and this is one of those principles, the proving, the testing of what really has value, and the Lord looking to the interior of who a person is. So, and as I said in a previous Manaments, don't listen, if you are in tune and you're in harmony with God and you're in harmony with the Holy Spirit, there's nothing to be fearful of in that. I mean, the Lord is making a beautiful work in your life. The process sometimes doesn't feel beautiful, but when you are in the hands of the Master, who loves you, and who is building in you an adornment of grace, man, that's something to be excited of, no matter where you're at in the process. Look, I don't care. I'm just going to say this. I don't care if you fell off the wagon this morning, okay? God is ready, willing, and able to reprove, to refine, and to work you through that situation. So come back in, get back in line, take your place in the classroom, sit there, open up the book, look up to the Lord in prayer, and say, Lord, let's work on this thing. I know you're refining me, and I'm okay with that. Because all things are going to work together for good for those who are called according to his purposes. That's it for today. That's your Manaments. I will look forward to seeing you tomorrow. I hope you're enjoying the series on Proverbs. I've been watching the comments. I didn't see anything come through, but questions, comments? Now's your chance. Okay. Well then, folks, we're going to wrap it up for today, and maybe you guys have a new challenge for me. I mean, this Proverbs thing has been fun. Maybe you got some new ideas, some new thoughts, some other things you'd like to see me go through. We're going to finish Proverbs, and then we're going to be getting into some more fun stuff, or if you have some questions or something else, or you have a challenge, you're like, hey, can you fit in something like this into the Proverbs series? I don't know. It may be fun to try. So anyhow, Lord bless you today. Thank you for joining me. Remember to be good, have fun, and do it in that order.